To control D&B devices and their channels via R1, add the respective devices to a new R1 project. This is done in the Devices view while the project is set to configuration mode. The Devices view is split into two sections. The left section is arranged in tabs and deals with complete devices or individual channels. The right section displays the properties of the current selection. The Interfaces tab will provide a list of all protocols and physical interfaces R1 can use to connect to devices. This is primarily OCA, which uses all the Ethernet interfaces of your computer. Also, CAN bus interfaces, which you might need for legacy devices, will show up here. Select an interface from the list to see its detailed information and properties, which are then shown on the right. To actually control a system, at least one interface must be active. Otherwise, R1 only runs in an offline or virtual mode that you can use to test your project file but will not control any physical D&B device. Activate the desired interfaces and click the Online button to connect to your system. When online, there is also status information, such as the port and address and the bus load if applicable. On the Devices tab, the left half of the screen is split vertically. The upper section lists all devices which are part of the current project. The lower section lists all remaining devices which are physically connected to the computer but are not part of the project. To change the contents of the device list manually, activate Edit mode. You can then add devices to your project in two ways. Press the plus device button to add a device from scratch. This works online and offline. Alternatively, when you're online, you can use the Add to Project function to add any of the additional devices to the project. In both cases, you may want to check or adjust global device properties in the section on the right. For alike devices, multi-selection is supported. Should you want to remove a device from the project, simply select it and use the -device button. Please note that for devices that have been created in ArrayCalc, most settings are locked and need to be changed there. To name individual channels of amplifiers in the project and configure them for specific types of loudspeakers, go to the Amp Channels tab. Selecting one or more channels on the left gives access to names and speaker type on the right. The available options are influenced by the output mode set for the overall device. In addition, channels can be assigned to existing or new source groups. These will reflect in some other functions in R1 and in ArrayCalc. For signal engine type devices like the DS100, their matrix in and outputs can be checked and adjusted on the respective tabs. The options there depend on whether or not additional software licenses, such as NScene, are enabled. Now that interfaces and amplifiers have been included and channels have been configured with loudspeaker setups, let's create some useful groups.